Hello everyone, Hamas28 here, and today we're back in the trapped world of compact claustrophobia. As you can see, I moved us into the regular compact machine to give us even more room. It made setting up the machines a lot easier. Now it's a lot cleaner. And we have even more room for expansion along the top here, which is very nice. Now, it seems like our biggest bottleneck right now is crafting stuff takes too long, and we can't make it go faster because we lack the energy needed to power the machines at higher speeds. I built a compression dynamo so I could start burning our creosote oil for power, and it's pretty good. It generates 240 RF per tick at max power because I put in 2 upgrades. But our battery has outlived its usefulness. This guy outputs the same amount as the battery, I believe. And even with 2 of these together, if we run, say, the pressurizer and a redstone furnace, we run out of power. So we're going to need to delve into baby's first fission reactor. Wait, why is this not done? Oh, it wants me to craft 64 of these. Huh. 500 seconds to spare. What is it talking about? Oh, I guess for the melter. Well, the melter doesn't say the speed on it. Oh, it does say the speed. 800 ticks? How many ticks are in a second? Okay, well some of them are really high by the looks of it. Oh right, I forgot about this. We can make the next tier size, but to do that you need to melt the machine. We'll need an ingot former. And that's why I want you to have so many, because compacted squared, because this guy in the melter takes 800 ticks. Okay, so I think that's what it's talking about. It'll take 500 seconds to melt it, which is why you want the speed upgrades. But if we're going to run 64 speed upgrades, we need the power of a fission reactor. Now, it's going to take 5 different blocks. This is a multi-block. And we should have, this one's empty, right? Yeah, this one's empty. So we'll be able to use that. Why is this number calling me from Georgia? I don't know. No, that's not true. I have family in Georgia, but I don't recognize that number. So I'm going to ignore it. So I believe we can store the fission reactor in the old area that we were using, our original 5x5 before we moved into the 7x7. But let's see if I have all the material, because a lot of this stuff, actually, if I pull up my handy dandy crafting calculator, I was looking at this stuff, so we check this one. Tough alloy, magnesium diboride alloy, lead, steel, cobblestone, graphite dust. So we should have a bunch of graphite dust. Yep, here we go. 43. So that should be enough there. We're going to need glass. Empty cooler is going to take ore and tough alloy. And tough alloy takes takes 600 ticks, ferroboron, and lithium. So we're actually going to need a bunch of tough alloy first, and ferroboron is steel and boron. So if we grab our boron, grab our steel, throw it into our alloy furnace. Yeah, that's really slow. So let's grab some of our speed upgrades. Oh, they're all in the manufactory. And let's make some more speed upgrades. Speed upgrade. We did pressure plate. Luckily, these are very cheap. That in there, that. So right now we're using 15 RF per tick, which is very low. We can easily keep up with that. So if we add 4 speed upgrades, we're now using 375, but we're running 5 times as fast. The power multiplier is 25, but for this type of recipe, this is going to be fine. In fact, I think we have just enough power for this. This isn't running. That's one thing I found annoying about this guy. You need to put water in him. There he goes, now he's running, which is a little annoying. There is an augment for that makes it so this recycles itself, so you don't have to keep refilling it. But I'm still not sure how to get that, because you need the higher tier stuff, which I don't have access to. Or I'm pretty sure I have access to it, but since I haven't played with thermal expansion, I don't actually know how to get up to that third tier. Then once we have the ferroboron, we're going to need to turn this all into tough alloy using lithium. So if we grab a stack of lithium, let's see if we have some more. Definitely should have some more lithium in here. Tin, lithium. We'll combine that. And that'll get us 2 stacks of tough alloy. We'll need more steel for this as well. How much steel do we have in reserve? None. Awesome. Cool. A whole stack. Let's go ahead and steal this iron. We'll throw that in there as well to make some more steel. And then I found out you can actually turn the slag into into sand, which is a little bit useful. Throw that in there. And that's just going to take a lot of crafting. So, let's see, once we have a full stack of ferroboron, we'll combine it with a stack of lithium to make a full 2 stacks of tough alloy. Ferroboron, lithium. Ooh, even this is slower. I wonder what the speed is. Steel and boron takes 400 ticks. Ferroboron and lithium takes 600 ticks. Ah, I see. So this is why I kept saying unless you have all that time to waste. And then magnesium diboride is what we'll need for this stuff. It's going to take 2 boron to 1 magnesium, and that takes 400. So we're going to need more of this as well. Magnesium and boron. So we should still have, more boron in here. And then magnesium. It's the pink one. So we'll wait on this we'll get a stack of this, then we'll combine the magnesium with the boron. It seems like we're going to need a lot of these ingots, these alloys for stuff, so we might as well make a large enough quantity that we don't have to keep running back. Sounds good to me. But since this is going to take so much time, and actually, is the battery draining? Yeah, the battery is draining pretty fast. So we can't really be efficient. Yeah, and we're not producing any more creosote. Actually, we have creosote in here, 56,000. I could just hot swap this. To generate more power. Perfect. The only thing annoying about this is that this is feeding directly into the flux duct and not the energy cell. So that's still going to drain, but this should continue to provide 240 RF per tick. Regardless. Put that back in here. And then we got some more hop graphite dust, so we can make some more diamond pieces, hopefully. Hop graphite ingots, and then we're going to blow those up later on. Unless, 3 for 1, or 20% chance. This is probably the right thing to do. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so we definitely do not have the space to build that. Wait, are you serious? That's so weird. Why would it make it with 50? What purpose does this have other than being annoying to make it at 50% when you could just use the workbench to make it at 100%? That's so weird. But okay, with 21, we should expect to get about 4 diamond nuggets, which is pretty good, but we're going to have to keep doing that. Let's take a look at our tree farm. 20. I did make a lot of it already. So we're still waiting on that. It's a little annoying, just because of how slow it is. Phytogrow is faster than the watering can, But Phytogrow is going to be more involved, whereas this runs 24/7. If I left this on like by itself for a day, we'd probably come back to a ton of resources. Okay, looks like that's all done. 24 tough alloy. Throw in boron and magnesium to start making our magnesium diboride alloy. Oh, and this one makes 3. So from, oh, because it takes 2 boron to 1 magnesium. So let's start with crafting this. So to start, we need 1 fission controller, which is going to take some of this stuff. We need 2 of these solenoids. We're going to need 1 machine chassis, 4 advanced platings, let's go ahead and make half a stack. Let's make a bit more. Let's just make all of it. For 4 of these. Two nuclear furnaces. One here. And here. Smelts items very quickly, uses uranium and thorium ingots and dust as fuel. Interesting. But we're using that for the fission controller. So now put it all together to make 1 fission controller. Build a multi-block reactor using reactor casing, reactor cells, coolers, and moderator blocks. Place the controller along an edge at a corner or within one of the faces of the structure. Splitting the atom. Now we'll need 8 fission reactor casings. 1, 2 for 8. 2 transparent fission reactor casings. That makes 4. 1 reactor cell. And 1 empty cooler. Quest completed. Babies first, fission reactor. Tough alloy, basic plating, that stuff. Now we can claim a fission reactor port. Place this block in the shell of a fission reactor in place of some reactor casing, but not in the top or bottom sides. If a controller is attached to the reactor structure, then its inventory and stored energy can be accessed by automation through this block. I think we'll take that. Seems like the best thing. And simulating science. This is a link to a tool that can help you build reactors. Pretty cool. That's a good way to get a virus. Refined nuclear fuel. There's a lot of fuels, but this one is easy to make and control. Place some uranium grit in an isotope separator. Isotope separator. Ah, here we go. Uses. Uranium grit, uranium-238, and a clump of uranium-235. Isotope separator, pretty cheap. We need to craft this. We need a machine chassis and 2 electric motors. Put it all together. 1 isotope separator. We'll throw this guy right here. Then it said put uranium grit. I think also regular uranium works as well. My god, that's slow. 800 ticks. Why? Why does everything need to be this slow? Okay, that's enough of that. Diboride. Put that away. And this is going to make our fuel. This produces, it takes 10 RF to process. Okay, so it's very light on the processing power. So even if we multiply it by 25, that only goes up to 250 RF per tick, which is still manageable. So let's make, I was going to say let's make some more. We're running low on iron. But iron is in high supply elsewhere. So if I throw 4 in here, 5 times as fast, and at 250 RF per tick, we will still generate a surplus, or at least we should, unless something else is sucking up power. That should be a surplus. Why is it not? No, it's 240, that's why. So we still lose 10 RF per tick, but at least it's faster. Storage, let's grab some more iron. Now let's jump into the small machine, set our entrance here. Now should I download this thing? Released May 1, 2020, 4 commits to the master since release. Alright, so I downloaded it. It doesn't seem to be a virus. At least not yet. Generate string, generate structure MBT per layer. Interesting. Not sure how to actually use this to build it. But based on this, it does say this amount is required as a hint to building a small and stable one. So if we grab our resources here, we should be able to build a 3x3 one, I believe. So if we do like here, or how big is this? I don't even know. Reactor port, cooler. If only it had, whatchamacallit? Yeah, I'm not sure. Reactor dimensions, 9x5x9. Unless it's just a... No, it can't be that tiny because we have this many blocks. Huh. I wish it said how to actually build this thing. Keep coolant and a reactor next to each other completely encased. Try a redstone cooler. Better than a water cooler. Quartz cooler, 90. Gold cooler, 120. Glowstone is 130. Then, let's see. Is cooling the only different? Let's make a gold one. So if we do empty cooler, gold, cooling rate 120. Come in here. Now based on this, keep coolant and the reactor next to each other. Reactor cell, cover it. Used in fission reactors, the more cells placed, the more rapidly fuel is used. Cells will be more efficient for each other cell they are adjacent to, or for each adjacent line of moderator blocks at length of 4 ending with another cell. So if we do this, reactor cell, and the cooler, glass casing, casing like this, then one in the back. We didn't cover the top. Casing incomplete. Yeah, I have no idea how to build this. Let me look up a tutorial, because I'm really confused. Nuclear craft. Okay, I saw a 30-minute video. I skipped through it, but it does seem to work. So we built a 1x2x1 fission reactor. So we should be able to throw in some blocks. This one, uranium. What did it say we had to do for the fuel? 1 uranium-235, uranium-238, 235, 238. This is probably a good time to have my Geiger counter. so we don't give ourselves radiation poisoning. And which one are we trying to make? This one, Lu 235. LEU-235. Uranium 235. Oh, we want uranium 235. We have tiny clumps of it, so we need to process some more uranium in order to get 9, so we can take the tiny clump and make it into uranium 235. Like that. Now we can process this into a big piece, and then combine that into LEU-235 fuel. Quest completed, refined fuel. So now if we come in here, put that in, LEU-235, cells 1, 120 RF per tick, power gen 120 RF per tick, efficiency 100%, fuel remaining 60 minutes, heat level 0, net generated heat 50 heat per tick, cooling rate 0 heat per tick. That's not good, right? Energy stored. Power gen. Do I have to turn this on? I probably should have watched more of that video. Like, do I need a lever to turn this guy on? Let's see. Oh, you do. Oh, and the radiation is increasing. Okay, so it's generating power. It's also generating quite a lot of heat, and we're not cooling at all, which is not good. So let me turn you off. Yeah, and that heat stays there. If I break it, will that release all of the radiation? And we can pull power out through this reactor port. But how do I do the cooling? Because we put the block, the cooling block, must be adjacent to at least one reactor cell, but how do you make it actually cool? Because I'm like 99% sure if you just let this heat up to the max, it explodes. Do I need to put like a block of water in here next to it, maybe? Let me check the video. Alright. I'm no expert, but from what I could glean, I can be a lot more greedy with this. But I'm still unsure if I break this, I will get a lethal dose of radiation poisoning. Let's find out. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Could have been a lot worse, I think. So we need to break this whole thing down. And I need to rebuild this. Now, the real test is going to be if I break this fission controller, will it give me radiation? No. Perfect. So after watching the video, I think I understand how to do it. If I was reading more, I would have seen that it says has to be adjacent to a water cooler and a redstone cooler. But we can also get very greedy with this to get a lot more power. So I want to fill up this entire 5x5 space. So we're going to need some more fission reactor casings. Fission reactor casing. Go right here. It does not consider the corners, so you can ignore the corners. Let's see, we need to still access this guy. So if we put the controller, like say, right here, that's fine. We'll be in the corner. Put the ground. Grab out the glass. Let's grab some more casings. Like so, and come in here. Then we can put the side right here. We're gonna need a bit more. Let's see, the glass can go right here. Like that. Then we'll fill out this side, so we need 6 plus 3, and then 5 glass. Oh, we need more graphite. Do I have any more graphite? I do not. We need trees. Why is there radiation here? Iron, oak wood into charcoal. And then turn that charcoal. Pulverize it into graphite dust. Make some more basic plating. Come back in here. So now 1, 2, 3. Here. The reactor port can actually put it right here. Oh, I need a tunnel as well. Tunnel. So this is gonna go out the top, up, fission reactor port, because now it can read it. Here. Let's see if we can make some more stuff. Charcoal. Put that in there. Why are we running out of power? I notice sometimes I have to break and replace this guy, but oh, that's why. This is just a power hog. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why are you running out of power? Well, we're running out of power because we're using power, and a lot of it. More casing. Then we'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish off this. Let me move you to the left, actually. Because then I can put some blocks right here so we can see better. Now you can see it's incomplete. Reactor cell. Radiation. Put the lever right here. More graphite dust. We officially ran out of power. There's not enough power to run this guy. Basic plating. Basic plating. Then I think we can only fit one more. Come in here. So now if we fill up this with the glass, it's a 2x3x3 fission reactor. Now I will need another iron pickaxe. Now we need our reactor cell, the empty cooler, the gold cooler. Now from how I understand it, let's see. We lose our fuel. That's fine. Because that's fine. Wait, why is there still no power generation? It should still be generating power. Why is it empty? Oh, because this guy is still running. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Because everything else should start sucking up power. Wait, no, it seems to be working now. So weird. Okay, grab the uranium. 235 into 235. This stuff into here. And I also realized why you want the door. Fission, I think it's reactor door. 6 reactor casing. Do I have enough to make that? Because I actually should have made this first. I think we can. think we have just enough. 1, 2. Yeah, we have just enough. Make the door. Make another lever for the door. So we can go ahead and replace this floor here. Well, I say replace, we're going to replace the glass. Put a lever, put the door. Now this still reads as a 2x3 reactor, but now we can enter inside. And this is useful because we can put the fuel inside, and now we can view how it works. So if we go ahead and place our reactor cell, say in the corner, you can see it generates 120 RF per tick and 50 heat. So if we want to use the gold cooler, we need a water cooler and a redstone cooler. And to make a water cooler, you just need a bucket of water. Empty cooler, water bucket. And if you place this inside, and the rule on this is, must be adjacent to at least one reactor cell or an active moderator block. So if you put this on top, and look, we generate 120 RF per tick, and we lose 10 heat every tick. Now the redstone cooler, what rule does that have? Redstone cooler must be adjacent to at least one reactor cell. So if we make the redstone cooler like here, now we produce negative 100 heat. And then if you read the gold cooler, must be adjacent to one water cooler and one redstone cooler. Now we can put this one here, and we produce minus 220 heat. What this means is we can add another reactor cell. Reactor cell. Come in here. And if we put it in here, we now produce 240 RF per tick and reduce heat by 170 heat per tick. But if we want to increase this further, then we take this reactor cell and make it touch the other cell, and now we produce 480 RF per tick and 30 heat. We've doubled it. But if we want to get a little fancy with it, we can add a moderator. If I search moderator, will it show all of them? It does. Graphite and beryllium is the only one by the look of it. Yeah, fission moderator. These will need graphite ingots, which is just graphite dust. Tough alloy, magnesium. We're going to need more graphite. See, this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes these batteries stop working. Oh, got sucked in. And it's really annoying. I don't know why. Yeah, there we go. It's so odd. Sometimes it just decides to not work, and I'm not sure why. You speed this up. Let's quickly get a tree going. There we go. Is that going to be enough? We need a graphite block, which is 9. That's just enough, actually. So we'll quickly smelt this. Throw it in here. We don't need any more of that, so we'll take this out. But yeah, you can see it stops producing power, which is so weird. Graphite dust. Yep, that's filling up. And then after this is full, now the battery's filling up. There we go. Take all of our graphite dust. Oh, we need to cook this into the ingot. I forgot. quickly cook it into graphite ingots. Make it into a block of graphite. Now if we come back in here, we can put this guy here, reactor there. Now we're producing 280 RF per tick, and we're losing 136 heat per tick, which is phenomenal. So I think we could even push this even further, I think, by putting another block of graphite here, and then another reactor cell in this corner. We are going to need the wood though. And right now that's taking us to, so you can see the cooling rate is 270 heat per tick with a heat multiplier of 133. Our energy output is 280 RF per tick at 116% efficiency. And then the reason the efficiency has changed is because we put in the moderator block, the graphite. Graphite is only considered active if it's adjacent to at least one reactor cell. Active graphite increases the reactor's efficiency, but also produces extra heat. For each graphite block, the additional power generated is equal to the base RF times the cell efficiency divided by 6 RF per tick for each adjacent reactor cell, and the additional heat generated is equal to the base heat times the cell efficiency divided by 3 heat per tick for each adjacent reactor cell. So what all that means is we have a lot more room to make this a lot more dangerous. So we can definitely fit in some more reactor cells as long as we make sure that the heat generated is as long as the heat loss is equal to heat generated or greater. So let's go ahead and make some more, what are these blocks? Reactor cells. Because I think that's the cheapest thing. We're only low on graphite. Reactor cell. Yeah, because this is glass and tough alloy. So I put you up here. 400 RF. Now if I'm silly and I put this guy here, we go up to 1020 RF per tick, but we generate 430 heat per tick. Now what I can do is we can remove this guy, and if we put him here, we produce 540 RF per tick, and we only generate negative 20, which is very good. Let's see. We can probably fit in another water cooling block here. And that would add additional cooling. We can't fit other coolers because our reactor is too small. Must be adjacent to at least an active moderator, so a quartz moderator only has to be next to the graphite block. Water only has to be next to a reactor cell or moderator. The redstone cooler has to only be adjacent to a reactor cell. And as you can see, there's all other types of coolers. The more expensive ones reduce more heat. Magnesium cooler must be adjacent to a reactor casing and one active moderator block. So how would I put it next to a graphite block and that? Tin must be adjacent to at least 2 valid lapis coolers. Copper must be adjacent to a valid glowstone cooler. We can't make emerald. Iron must be adjacent to a valid gold cooler. Okay, so we could put a gold cooler right here. Gold cooler. Reduce heat by 100. Cryoethium must be adjacent to at least 2 reactor cells. So if we had cryoethium, we could put one right here. And if we add more graphite blocks here and here, actually here I think, because these two are already touching, that will increase the efficiency. We could definitely fit another reactor cell here though. Reactor cell. We're out of tough alloy? Dang, we burned through it. Tough alloy was ferroboron and lithium. Ferroboron and lithium. So we can make some more. I'm kind of turning into a mad scientist. This is actually like really fun because it's like a puzzle. And the video I was watching that was describing how to design your reactor was essentially saying that you want to build the frame and then put in the fuel, and then that way you can design it around the fuel. You don't want to build a reactor and then put fuel in it just to see that it doesn't work. So now if I put this guy here, we're at 960 RF per tick and 200 heat. So we're going to need some more cooling. We can put another iron cooler right here because it's adjacent to the gold. Cooler. Tough alloy. Iron cooler. Put it there. So now we're still generating 120 heat per tick. Let's see, water has to be next to something. Has to be next to a reactor cell. So we could put a redstone cooler right here. Redstone cooler right here. Gets us down to 30. And then I think one more cooler, and that might be the max. Because I don't think we can fit in one more. Lapis cooler. And it has to be next to a water cooler and a quartz cooler. The lapis has to be next to a reactor cell and a reactor casing. Oh, and a casing, so it has to be on the edge. And this cools down by 120. And that only costs a lapis block. Water, lapis, oh, 2 blocks. Lapis cooler. Must be adjacent to one reactor cell, at least one reactor cell and one reactor casing. Oh, I don't think that's going to work. Because if we look, 30 heat, and if I place it here, no, it does work. Oh, see, I was reading it as has to be adjacent to at least one reactor cell and only one reactor casing. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So we're at negative 89 heat. And then the water coolers can be next to the reactor cell. So I think I can just put in, if we put a block of graphite here, well we could put a block of graphite here, water cooler there, water cooler here. So we need 2 more water coolers. And then one more, what are they called? Reactor cell. I clicked in between it. So annoying. Okay, go back in here. Reactor cell. Inside of here. So now we can place water cooler. You go here, you go here, you go there. Awesome. Now we close the door. We have 2 voided spaces, but that's fine. So now we generate, so now our uranium fuel will only last 10 minutes, but we produce 1080 RF per tick and it will never overheat. So now if we flip the switch, no heat is generated, power is getting stored incredibly fast, radiation is rising, but now I can leave this place. Now we can take this block and swap out this guy. And now we're producing power. Nearly 5 times as much as this. Although for that much work, I think we need to build an even bigger reactor. But I think that's good enough for now. I was wondering how difficult it was going to be, but that was actually quite fun. And now that we can generate this much power, and all we have to do is supply it with more reactor fuel, which is this stuff. Like so. It's actually not too bad. Now we can come in here, low rads, show recipes. I think, oh, so this is showing the fuel. So if I do that, yeah, it's showing the duration. Yeah, 9 more minutes, 88%. Each one will generate 10,000 RF per tick for 10 minutes, which in total is a lot. It's a lot of power. Which means now we can finally crank the voltage on these guys, because we can generate enough power to support it. Although something like the magma crucible will still consume that. This is 4,000 RF per tick. But these things, 36, 360, 40, electrolyzer, 250. Now we can definitely crank these up with speed upgrades to make it go a lot faster. So that means next episode, we can work on getting to the next tier of infinite tiny space, the next tier up, compacted squared, because we'll finally have the power to run all of our machines. But anyways, I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you guys next time.